In a proposed three-team trade scenario imagined by Bleacher Report's Eric Pincus, the Boston Celtics, Miami Heat, and Utah Jazz could each address major offseason needs while reshaping the trajectory of their rosters. With the Celtics eyeing cap relief and a future big man, the Heat searching for offensive punch, and the Jazz ready to retool, this deal could offer the rare outcome where all three franchises walk away satisfied. Here's the full trade as envisioned. Boston Celtics receive Walker Kessler via Jazz, $27.7 million trade exception, Anthony Simons. Utah Jazz receive Terry Rozier via Heat, Jamie Jaquez Jr. via Heat, Nemias Quetta via Celtics, 2026 protected first-rounder via Celtics, 2026 second-rounder via Celtics, 2029 protected first-round swap via Heat, $5.5 million via Celtics. $4.9 million trade exception, Walker Kessler. Miami Heat receive Anthony Simons via Celtics, John Tunge via Jazz, $3.9 million trade exception, Jamie Jaquez. The Celtics get a center for years to come. The Celtics are staring down a transitional year. With Jason Tatum set to miss the entire 2025-26 season after tearing his Achilles, the team has pivoted from contention to cap management. Shedding Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis earlier in the summer saved a huge chunk of salary, but more trimming is needed to escape the repeat tax penalty trap. Enter Walker Kessler, a cost-controlled, defense-first center who averaged 11.1 points, 12.2 rebounds, and 2.4 blocks per game last season. Kessler would instantly become Boston's starting big man with Al Horford expected to leave and Luke Kornet now on the Spurs. He's also extension eligible, which means Boston can lock in long-term value or let him hit restricted free agency. Moving Anthony Simons, who arrived in the Holiday deal, clears space and avoids a potential bidding war in 2026. Simons' fit with Boston was always questionable, especially with Derek White and Peyton Pritchard already in the backcourt. Getting a $27.7 million trade exception in return also gives Boston flexibility to retool next summer. In short, the Celtics downgrade talent slightly for now, but get younger, cheaper, and stay under the tax, setting themselves up for a bigger splash in 2026 when Tatum returns. The Heat get another explosive score. Anthony Simons to Miami might not be the most obvious move, especially after the team acquired Norman Powell. But in truth, Simons fits Eric Spoelstra's evolving offense better than Powell long-term. While Powell is a proven sixth man entering the final year of his deal, Simons is a 26-year-old flamethrower with elite scoring chops and room to grow as a playmaker. Simons averaged 21.3 points and 5.7 assists last season for Portland despite an injury-riddled campaign. He gives Miami a much-needed second scoring guard to pair with Tyler Herro, especially after Jimmy Butler's departure. While Herro has been steady, he cannot carry the full offensive load. Simons adds a dynamic shot creator who can play on or off the ball. Losing Jamie Jaquez Jr., a rising talent with an old-school game, stings, but Simons is already further along and fills a more pressing need. Miami also parts with a future pick swap, but that's a small price to pay for a prime scorer entering his athletic peak. Plus, acquiring John Tunge on a minimum deal and creating a $3.9 million trade exception gives Miami even more roster flexibility moving forward. If Simons excels, they can offer an extension. If not, they maintain cap optionality in 2026. Miami Heat captain and cornerstone Bam Adebayo predicted an offseason of change for the franchise. There are going to be a lot of changes this summer, Adebayo said in late April, just a few days after the Heat was eliminated in the first round of the playoffs for the second straight season. Just from my point of view, understanding how the guy with the silver hair, Heat president Pat Riley, works. So just be prepared for that. So far, the Heat has 3 new faces on its standard roster for next season: Simone Fontecchio, Kasparas Giacchionis, and Norman Powell. Those from last season's season-ending standard roster, who are no longer with the Heat, are Kyle Anderson, Alec Burks, Kevin Love, and Duncan Robinson. Is that enough change for a Heat team that has been eliminated in the first round of the playoffs in each of the last 2 seasons, has needed to qualify for the playoffs through the NBA's play-in tournament in each of the last 3 seasons, and finished this past regular season with a losing record for the first time since the 2018-19 season, and just the 6th time in Riley's 30 seasons with the organization? It's a very good shakeup for our team, and now there's a different dynamic to it, Adebayo said Saturday, making his first comments to South Florida media since the end of last season during a break at his 6th annual youth basketball clinic at SLAM, Miami Charter School. While Adebayo has not yet won an NBA championship, the 3-time NBA All-Star knows what it takes to make a deep playoff run. Boston's Jaylen Brown, 135 playoff appearances, and Jason Tatum, 121 playoff appearances, Denver's Jamal Murray, 79 playoff appearances, and Adebayo, 78 playoff appearances, are the only players in the league currently younger than 29 years old who have already appeared in at least 78 playoff games during their NBA careers. Adebayo hopes the addition of Powell, who produced All-Star caliber numbers last season, can help the Heat get back to winning playoff series. Powell averaged a career-high 21.8 points to go with 3.2 rebounds, 2.1 assists, and 1.2 steals per game, while shooting 48.4% from the field and 41.8% on 7.1 three-point attempts per game for the Los Angeles Clippers last season. Powell was among 6 NBA players who averaged at least 21 points per game, while shooting better than 48% from the field and better than 40% from three-point range last regular season, along with Nikola Jokic, Kevin Durant, Karl-Anthony Towns, Zach LaVine, and Kawhi Leonard. I feel like Norman is one of those guys that floats under the radar, said Adebayo, who turned 28 on July 18th and has already played in 3 Eastern Conference Finals and 2 NBA Finals. But as you saw this year, he's really shown that he can be an all-star caliber player. You've seen what he's done, and you've seen him grow in this league. And obviously, he wants to take the next challenge. Obviously, the next challenge is being with the Miami Heat. So I'm happy to have him. The Heat also retained guard Davion Mitchell in free agency this offseason. Mitchell agreed to a new deal this summer worth $24 million over 2 seasons to return after thriving in Miami following his mid-season trade to the Heat as part of the Jimmy Butler deal in February. Following the trade to Miami, Mitchell averaged 10.3 points, 2.7 rebounds, 5.3 assists, and 1.4 steals per game, while shooting 50.4% from the field and 44.7% on 3.1 three-point attempts per game in 30 regular season appearances, 15 starts for the Heat. Mitchell's point-of-attack defense also immediately helped the Heat, as Miami allowed 3.4 fewer points per 100 possessions with Mitchell on the court compared to when he wasn't playing after the February trade. Davion being back, obviously, we've been missing somebody that can really play on-ball defense, Adebayo said. And having him come in and be that guy and understand his role, I'm looking forward to him being here for a full year, and all of us being together and getting to know one another, and turning this into more of a brotherhood. We were kind of disconnected a little bit trying to figure out everybody's role, and trying to figure out everybody's style of play. But now we're going to have a good training camp, and then we go from there. While Adebayo is satisfied with the Heat's roster changes this offseason, he has mixed emotions about some of the moves made because of the teammates he lost. I'm going to miss them, obviously, Adebayo said of losing Robinson and Love as Heat teammates. Just because Duncan has been here for 8 years, and having that connection was special. And then K-Love was a leader that could speak to somebody from a championship level, could obviously encourage the younger group, be an example, but also he was the bridge between some of the coaches and the players. So like I said, I'm going to miss both of them. I'm glad we had the time that we did. It was obviously helpful for my growth and my development as a player and as a captain. Adebayo's time in Miami continues after spending the first 8 seasons of his career with the Heat. Hosting his 6th annual youth basketball clinic in Miami is a reflection of his long Heat tenure. It just speaks to what I've done in the community and that people believe in BAM Camp, Adebayo said. They see it as an opportunity for kids to get better, kids to start understanding the game better. I take pride in that because these kids are our future. So it's my job to invest in them now, and you never know what can happen. As the Heat's captain and highest paid player, Adebayo hopes his 9th season with the Heat is his best yet. I care. That's the one thing that people don't understand about me. I care, said Adebayo, who is under contract with the Heat through the 2028-29 season. I value relationships. I value me being loyal to this community. The Miami Heat are in the midst of retooling their roster in hopes of returning to title contention. But at this point, it's becoming increasingly obvious that they're missing a true superstar. Since their most recent finals run, the Heat have struggled to recapture that same level of firepower. Known for their Heat culture and relentless work ethic, the franchise has always been at its best when led by stars who embody that mentality. Under Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra, Miami has consistently built around elite talent that can carry them deep into the playoffs. Right now, the team leans heavily on Bam Adebayo, with Tyler Herro emerging as an all-star caliber guard. But while both are talented and productive, neither is the kind of offensive force that can consistently close out a playoff series on its own. Last season's decision to move on from Jimmy Butler marked a major shift. In return, the Heat added Andrew Wiggins, a strong defender and former champion, but his limitations as a leading scorer have become clear. Why Zion Williamson could be the answer for Miami. If Miami wants to get serious about chasing banners again, it'll need to take a risk. And one name stands out: New Orleans Pelicans forward Zion Williamson. This might be the perfect window for the Miami Heat to land a superstar like Zion Williamson, especially at a time when his value isn't at its peak. Zion's issues have been well documented: constant injury problems, poor conditioning, and question marks about professionalism. But if there's one environment built to confront those exact problems, it's Miami. The Heat are known for having some of the strictest internal standards in the NBA.